Welcome in, listener. You're listening to a segment from the Slumpbuster podcast with Ju-Ju Dre. Find the full episode on Spotify, iTunes, the Google Play Store, or our YouTube channel. Enjoy. All right, let's get into NFL Week 7. It's time. We got to make these predictions. I got to beat you another week.
This past week, honestly, was awful for me, where I thought I didn't get a single one right. But
I did the math. Honestly, I was just as bad as you. It just, on the ones we disagreed with, we kind of like tied. So it kind of washed last week for us, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, last week was a rough week. I was looking at my picks and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the worst week I've ever had in picking sports. But
well, as far as the Thursday night game, so that's the big headline of the week right now that might even overshadow the Sunday games. Kansas City, they won the game 30-6, but they lost so much more. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come out in our power rankings after this. So Patrick Mahomes on a routine quarterback sneak gets hurt. So it's a dislocated kneecap officially. He's going to miss about roughly 3 to 4 weeks is the word out there on the streets. I don't know. Maybe he could go to Wakanda. I know Saquon Barkley knows a guy.
But, yeah, that might be how Saquon Barkley is able to get in so quickly. That's impressive.
But a lot of people are crushing Andy Reid for his decision to do Patrick Mahomes on a quarterback sneak, even with like injured ankle. Stop it, please. How many times have you ever seen a quarterback get hurt on a quarterback sneak? It doesn't happen. So why are we crushing Andy Reid for doing this? Tom Brady has been doing quarterback sneaks for the last 20 years. Are we going to believe that a dynamic athlete like Patrick Mahomes can't push behind the offensive center for 2 feet? I mean, come on. Like, I think it's ridiculous to give Andy Reid as much flack as people are doing with this. Quarterback sneak is, honestly, I feel like one of the more safer plays because you don't ever see injuries from it. This is a complete freak injury.
Yeah, I agree on that. And an ankle injury is not as bad as like the Kevin Durant injury last year, right? Like a lot of people had thought that it was like an Achilles and they thought his Achilles might tear if he went back in. With this, I don't think that anybody was really thinking that there could have been potentially long-term damage, right? And it's not like he was in a gigantic knee brace or anything like that, or people were worried about a ligament tearing. It just is a freak accident. And Pat Mahomes, he knew that going in, and that football is a game, right? That you risk possible injury, and it just happened.
With that said, if you're the Chiefs, you're put in this position, though, not having him for 3-4 weeks. What's that going to do for you? You're having to depend on Matt Moore. I think that Andy Reid is a good enough coach where they can pull down at least – if they go 1-2, I think that's okay. But it's definitely going to hurt you in terms of seeding because Houston's rocking right now. They just beat you, so they're going to have tiebreaker on you. And clearly you're not going to catch the Patriots with Mahomes gone. And I just mentioned that stat a little bit ago. No team has made out of the wild card round all the way to the Super Bowl since 2012. So clearly those buys matter. Do you think the Chiefs are still a Super Bowl caliber team now?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit tough, and they just haven't looked good recently either. Like they look good in their win against the Broncos, but the Broncos also are not the best team this year. The Broncos have looked better as of late. They looked really bad against the Chiefs, but I don't know. And you're right, being in that spot where now you have to play in that wild card week can be really detrimental. I'm a little bit worried. I had them going to the Super Bowl, I think, or at least, being one of the top contenders for it. I don't know if I feel comfortable putting them there anymore, especially with this injury to Mahomes.
Packers, Vikings, Titans. That's their next 3 weeks. So it's not an easy schedule either. If you told me they managed to pull off one win against the Vikings or the Packers, maybe it's still doable to get that bye week because I could see the Texans losing a game or two. In fact, I could see them losing a game this week against the Colts, who are also competing for the division as well. But this is a terrible timing, honestly, for this injury. Terrible timing anyway. You never want to see your star quarterback go out, especially in a meaningless game against Denver. But, God, I mean, we both picked the Chiefs to win, so the game is kind of irrelevant at this point to us, except for this one injury is standing out right now. I don't know.
Yeah, and those teams, they have tough defenses, right? And so now the Chiefs' offense, the Chiefs have been notorious for being able to win games because their offense has been so outstanding. But now you got, who is it, Matt Moore, you said?
Matt Moore, their quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, as their backup quarterback. And so now you're going up against some tough defenses, and your offense isn't as good as it has been to win you your games, right? Like, good luck on this stretch.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Moore is not great, but he's better than less.
Yeah. More is usually better than less.
Got you again. Twice
man.
now. Dad jokes.
All
For the
right,
win.
let's just get into the picks.
Okay, gotcha. All righty. So let's move into the games. Sunday morning is starting off with those perfect, pristine, amazing, top 5 defense in the NFL, San Francisco 49ers, traveling into our nation's capital. Self-hating Redskins fans, join with me. 10-point line, Niners. Give me the Niners. Give me the points. Come on. Let's be real, Dre. Can you really pick against them this week?
I think so. I also thought about this. I think I've picked against your Niners almost every single week, if not every single week, right? Like I know I picked against them in the Steelers game. I know I picked against them last week. I'm pretty sure I picked against them all the other times they played, but I'm not picking against them this week. They look good. Like I had questions about them. What teams had they really played, even when they played the Steelers, right? We had a backup quarterback in, but they look good, and the Redskins don't, right? So
yeah, I mean, this is a Kyle Shanahan hate game. Redskins fans, you think you hate your team? Kyle Shanahan has been on record this week saying he hates them 10 times as much. When asked about it, he came out to quote, "What did you like about your time in Washington?" "Oh, the players, everything." "What else did you like?" "Oh, nothing else." So, we'll see how this game goes. Well, we know how this game will go. Mm-hmm. Niners, 6-0. Woo, woo. All right. Next game up. Rams, Falcons. The Falcons are liquid hot garbage. The Rams picked up Jalen Ramsey. We kind of ignored it. We didn't talk about it as much in the news headlines. Jalen Ramsey is a Ram. Marcus Peters, gone. What do you kind of make of this situation? Do you think that this will be good for the Rams? I mean, 3-3, 3 straight losses. I don't know if they can really win the division anymore. So I don't know if this was a wise trade to trade away your first-round pick for the next 2 years.
I don't know. And I don't know if it makes that big of a difference for them. I mean, they've had a lot of offensive struggles, too. They haven't looked that great offensively. I know their defense isn't as good as it was last year. But, I mean, I like Jalen Ramsey. But you're right. The timing's just a little bit weird. And to give up that much of a haul for him, I think they overpaid a little bit.
If you told me they beat the Niners, I could see it a little bit more. Or if you told me they beat the Seahawks. But having lost back-to-back games against both those teams, and they still have to play the Niners on the road. They still have to play one more game against Seattle as well. I don't know if Jalen Ramsey is a big enough difference maker for them. And it brings up some interesting cap questions for this team long-term, whether or not they're going to be able to pay all these guys. I mean, I joke that it seems like they have a different bank account, but there still is a hard cap, I think, in the NFL somehow. I mean, I don't know how you're managed to pay Aaron Donald, Todd Gurley, Jared Goff. You're going to have to pay Jalen Ramsey, even if he says he's playing on that 5th-year option next year. It's still going to come around where he's going to want to break out the Brinks truck. Same argument he had with Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, and they're stuck with that Gurley contract. I mean, that's really been what's limited them, is that they're not getting the value out of it that they thought they were going to get out of it.
They're still paying Brandon Cooks big money, and then there's going to be a point where you're going to talk about Cooper Kupp. When's he going to get paid? There's going to be a point where you're going to talk about Robert Woods, who's just as much a big part of your offense as well. This team is going to be really hard to pay given the current cap structure. Where are they going to make concessions? Jared Goff, you're tied to him long term. Make or break, and he has looked pretty bad. But with that said, going back into the game, no one looks bad against the Falcons. This defense, oh my God. They're so bad. So bad. Like, Kyler Murray destroyed them. The week before, they just got absolutely decimated by the Texans. Basically, if you need a get-right game, Falcons are the team for you. Go ahead and give me the Rams in this game by a wide margin.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the Rams, if you need a bounce-back game, this is the game to do it. And the Falcons, for whatever reason, are just really bad this year. They're just very bad. I've
given up on them. They're all the way down at, I think for me, 29.
Yeah. And I don't blame you.
All right. So the biggest line of the week, hands down, is going to be Miami Dolphins going into Buffalo this week. 17-point dogs. Miami, they're going to be throwing out Ryan Fitzpatrick this week. Josh Rosen gets jerked around again. Now he's on the bench. Ryan Fitzpatrick led a little bit of a comeback last week against Washington. No one really won Tank Bowl. Let's be honest about that. I thought that the Dolphins were being smart and throwing out Rosen, but what are they doing throwing out Fitzpatrick for another week? I got to go with the Vegas here on this one too. Give me the Bills, but I don't know if they're going to honestly live it to the 17-point line just because the Bills aren't an offensive powerhouse. They're not a juggernaut by any means. They're going to win by defense. This might be a blowout, but a blowout like 20-7.
Yeah. Nope. I totally agree. I'm going with the Bills, and I think it's going to be an easy win for them. I don't think they're going to struggle with the Dolphins. Especially now that the Dolphins are the worst team in the NFL, right? Like, you're guaranteeing yourself you're going to be able to get one of the top quarterbacks in this year's drafts. So I don't even think the Dolphins want to try to win against the Bills.
The flip side of the Jalen Ramsey trade in our next game is going to be the Jaguars are going on to Cincinnati this week. Minshew Mania has hit a bit of a roadblock right now. That's not nearly the hype it was a few weeks ago. Nick Foles is back out there. He's apparently getting ready to practice right now. So, hey, I think, unfortunately, it's a bit of an end in that little saga of Jaguars history. It was fun while it lasted, but do I think that this is a spot where the Bengals might get their first win at home, 4.5-point dogs? Nah, I'm going to go with the Jags.
Man, you know what? Just to be different, I'll take the Bengals.
You'll go with the Bengals?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, my picks suck anyways, so I'll go with the Bengals.
Okay,
at least
so
last week they did.
You're going to basically take the George Costanza approach that if every instinct you have is wrong, just do the opposite.
Exactly. Eventually, I'm going to get it right.
All right. This next game here, Lions absolutely 100% got screwed in their last game Monday night. Like, Jesus Christ, that was terrible. Like, the guy wasn't even in the face mask. Like, how do you, if you're an NFL rep and the guy has all shoulder pad, where do you see face mask? Twice. Mm-hmm. Twice on pivotal drives. I do believe that this Lions team is good. I do believe they're a solid team. I don't know if I'm necessarily as bullish to give them a top 10 standing as you, but that is so crippling. They literally had a chance to be the number one team in the NFC North, and they got screwed by the referees. What the hell?
Yeah, I think they're coming out with a vengeance. And that's the thing. I knew this Lions team, we had been saying it all year long, right? Is we thought they were sneaky good. Now I think it's not so much sneaky good as they're like good and getting screwed by refs, right? Like, they competed with the Chiefs. They probably should have won that game last week. I think the Lions are actually good, and I think they're going to beat the Vikings.
I am kind of worried about this one because coming off such a heartbreaking loss like that, can they really bounce back mentally? I mean, things like that tend to have a snowball effect when you're a team like the Lions, who are an up-and-coming team. When you get wins literally taken out of the win column by outside forces like a referee like that, it has a mental effect. I mean, look at the Saints. The Saints have had that in the back of their head the entire year, the last 2 years, having these crippling losses. I don't know if the Lions can necessarily bounce back. I'm actually going to go with Minnesota because you know what? The Lions are 2-2, meaning they're a 500 team, meaning they're not over that 500 mark threshold. So Kirk Cousins has a chance to succeed here. So go ahead and give me the Vikings at 2.5 points favorite.
His superpowers magically turn on when you're at 500.
It's like the bat signal, except it's like a decimal and 500 lights up instead of the bat.
It's so funny. We'll have to make like a meme or a comment about that.
How many
like
Kirk Cousins contracts could buy you a bat signal?
I would think that the bat signals are pretty cheap. I don't know. I don't know how high powered, but maybe we'll say half
a Kirk Cousins contract. Okay, fair enough.
I think so. I think that's good.
All right, next game up. Knock on wood if you're with me, if you're excited about this one. The Raiders, back from a bye week, back from London, are on the road again because they're just the NFL's nomadic franchise to face the Packers for the first time since their 80-yard Winnipeg Bowl during the preseason. This is an interesting one. So the Packers are 5-point favorites in this one at home in Lambeau, but they did come off a short week Monday night where they should have lost. We just acknowledged they should have lost that game. Give me the Raiders. I'm going to go with the upset here. Raiders are somehow going to be 4-2, and once again, I'm going to be lost on what to do with them in my power rankings.
Yeah, apparently the Raiders are a sneaky good team this year too. That neither of us saw that happening.
They might win the AFC West right now.
Which would be insane. Like, I could not imagine that. And apparently everybody would call Gruden a genius or something, right? Like, to come in and be able to do that, like, would be unheard of. That being said, I think the Packers are just too talented, too good. They're playing at home. Give me the Packers.
Okay. Let me go ahead. So this one, Vegas had this at one point at an even line. It's since moved in the Colts' favors. The points currently have the Colts as a 1-point favorite at home against the Texans. It's a bit of a toss-up game. I could go either way on this one myself. Dre, do you want to go ahead and give your choice?
I'll go with the Colts, though I'm not confident. I can definitely see it. Like you said, I would not be surprised if the Texans win this one.
I'm going to go with the Colts, too. Again, a situation where you have a team coming off a bye week. They're at home. The circumstances line up pretty well for the Colts in this matchup. And I feel like the Texans are a little bit inconsistent. Give me the well-coached team in the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is a good spot for them. We have a case of a West Coast team going cross-country with this next one. Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray, they're taking the air raid offense to the New York Giants facilities. I'm going to be interested to see this matchup. Daniel Jones hasn't really looked like Danny Dimes the last couple of weeks. He faced the number one defense in the NFL, so kind of hard to do that last Thursday night. They're 3-point favorites at home. I think that's about right. They get Evan Ingram back this week. They get Saquon back this week. Things are lining up just right for the Giants. I'm going to go ahead and take them. It'd be interesting if the Cardinals did win because then they move themselves into this 3-3-1 picture, which would kind of make them way better than a lot of people probably give them credit for.
Yeah. No, I think the Cardinals are more interesting than I had thought that they were going to be. And I still feel bad for Kyler Murray, but he's doing a fantastic job with that team. Even though we said, like, their line is awful, their team around them is bad. Kyler's doing a good job. That being said, I'll still take the Giants. They just have too many weapons coming back, especially Saquon's going to be a big difference maker, I think.
All right. So we're both on the Giants on that one. I hate this game. I hate this game so
I think I know which one you're talking about.
So much because both these teams are the worst teams to pick in the NFL right now. Eris, I'm looking you dead in the eyes right now on this one. Chargers, Titans. Okay, so the last few weeks, I've come out the better on this one in the sense of we've decided we're just going to split Titans games. You pick the Titans or I pick the opposite, either way. And you actually went first the last 2 weeks in picking this one. So I guess I have to break it up. I have to choose a team. You went with the Titans both weeks, so I'm going to go with the Titans on this one. I don't like doing it. I feel dirty. I feel like I have to take a hot shower after doing this. I'm betting on Ryan Tannehill. They benched Marcus Mariota this week. That's another headline that came out of the NFL. So Mariota, I think your time in the NFL is coming to an end, or at least as a starting quarterback. But
this is a bad game. And like the Chargers apparently cannot beat bad teams, right? Like here's what I will say about the Chargers is they will play to the level of their competition. You have a good team outside of the Pats, right? They get owned by the Pats. But if you have a good team, the Chargers will play up and they might beat you. And if you have a bad team, they will play down and they might lose to you. So there's a real chance that the Chargers will lose this one. But to split the difference and continue with our trend, I will take the Chargers. But I'm sure they'll let me down.
I'm sure they will. In fairness, they'll have just as many fans in Tennessee as they did in LA, apparently.
I know. That Steelers game, like, surprised me how many Steelers – like, the Steelers, we do have, I think, one of the best, like, fan bases in the world, I think, when it comes to sports, right? But I was not expecting them to fill up that entire stadium. But, of course, that's only like 1,000 people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, playing at a high school football stadium over there. High school soccer stadium, forgive me. Anyway, all right. So this is a bit of an interesting one. Saints going into Chicago. The Bears are a 4-point favorite. Bears, another team coming off a bye, another team at home. We do have the Saints. The Saints can't really win all these Teddy Bridgewater games, can they? Alvin Kamara is already ruled out too. That's another important piece to this game.
I still think who's quarterback on the Bears right now? Do you know?
I think they've announced that Mitch Trubisky should be healthy enough to start right now.
He should be healthy enough to start. I think the Saints' run has to come to an end at some point.
Law of averages.
Yeah.
You're going with the Bears then, I take it?
No, I'll still go Saints. The Bears are just bad. I just don't have a lot of faith in them. I know law of averages like we're talking about, but I'll go with the Saints still.
This is going to be an ugly game, I think. But I'm going to go with the Bears. I think, like I said, Teddy Bridgewater has been playing out of his mind for the last couple weeks. They're missing one of their core offensive pieces in Kamara. And Matt Nagy, he's a creative play caller. I'm sure he can figure out the Saints defense in a way that the last couple teams haven't. Plus, the Saints don't play as well on the road. So go ahead, and the weather's starting to turn. So go ahead and give me the Bears. So this is going to be the Lamar Jackson test. This is going to be how his season is measured because he's going on the road to face Seattle. And Seattle's defense hasn't looked nearly as impressive as we've come accustomed to with Pete Carroll out there. It's really been all Russell Wilson this year. The Seahawks are 3-point favorites. What do you think? Do you think that the Ravens can actually beat a good team?
I don't think so. And the Ravens, to me, they haven't looked that good ever since like the Steelers game, right? Where, we even lost Mason Rudolph. Like they still haven't looked that fantastic to me. If anything, they look like they're regressing and getting worse and worse. So I'm still going to take the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are just a better team. And at the end of the day, Wilson just does what he does, right? And he finds a way to win.
I'm going to go different here. I know it's kind of a surprise by me, especially because I've been down on the Ravens. But from a strategy standpoint, I think I'm actually going to take the Ravens. Be a little different from you. And, hey, I just have success with these road dogs. Might as well keep up the tradition, right?
That you do. All
right, let me go ahead and go with the Ravens and the straight-up upset. The Sunday night game, there's a couple desperate teams right now, and I don't want to be any of these teams' publicists Monday morning if you're on the losing end. So we have the Eagles going into Jerry World this week. Both teams 3-3. The winner of this game is going to be at the top of the division. And in prime control of, I think, honestly, who's going to win it. Where do we see this game going? Because on my end, if I'm making my pick right now, and a lot of people are going to say this, I may be a Cowboy hater, but I'm actually going to go with you guys this week. I've seen Carson Wentz doesn't play as well against this team, to be honest. And Dak Prescott has had success against this Eagles defense. And he'll even have more success because I don't know if you noticed, the Eagles can't defend the pass.
Yeah.
If there was ever an opportunity for Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore and that entire coaching staff to finally turn things around in their passing game and look like they did all the way back in week 3, it would be this. Now, I got to say, thank you for the Laws last week because, damn, I was not expecting that beat down by the Jets of all teams. But kudos to you. You at least made my week, Cowboys fans. But I think I'm going to give it to you this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're playing in Jerry World. They're desperate. They need a win. I see the Cowboys taking it. And the Cowboys, I think, have won the majority of their past few games, at least in like the last 2 years. So I see that trend continuing. Like you said, the Eagles' defense, especially against the pass, just looked awful. So give me the Cowboys.
All right. Monday night. So second time these two teams have played already. Patriots going on the road to face the New York Jets. Patriots are a 10-point favorite in this matchup. This just adds into the narrative right now that the Patriots haven't played anyone good to this point in the season. But Sam Darnold came back last week, and this team looked a lot better for it. Like I said, they kicked the Cowboys' ass. Let's be honest about it. The game score did not match up to what I saw on the field because before blink and you miss it, they were already up 21-6 on the Cowboys with Sam Darnold back. So it tells you what a big difference maker he is for this team. Patriots aren't going to go undefeated. I'm going to do it. Give me the Jets on Monday night.
Wow. Okay. I think the Jets are much better with Darnold in. I agree. But I'm going to go the Patriots. I'm going to be different. I don't see the Patriots losing in their division.
Like I said, I just think that I have a hunch right now. They played a lot better. Adam Gase has actually coached pretty well against this team, and you can't hold it against him. The scraps he had at quarterback the last 2 times these teams met, the offense hasn't looked as good for the Patriots. I think things are lining up for an upset here. So,
I hope you're right. I 100% hope you're right, but I don't know if I see it. So,
all right, well, that's my crazy prediction of the week. Get the wacky buzzers. I don't know what that was. What sound was I making?
that was a pigeon. That's what that was.
I'm going to stop.